What's going on, everybody? This is John Jake Gaming on the mic here, coming at you with the second round of the FCS playoffs here on NCAA 06. And we come into this episode with 16 teams. We're going to get our quarterfinals matchup here by the time this is all said and done. So, hope you guys are excited for this episode, and if you are, make sure you go ahead and smack that like button, hit that subscribe button as well if you do happen to be brand new to the channel, as we go ahead and dive right into today's episode. And we start with the very first game that we have on tap. Number 17, James Madison, goes to take on the number 1 seed in this tournament, the Akron Zips, who have not lost a single game this season. We'll see if James Madison can change that. That's a great way to get it started. Mike Crum with a 23-yard reception to get things started. They're already sitting at midfield to start this game. Later on, Stephen Taylor, he's going to fire a strike down the right-hand side. But who was that pass to? He was trying to get it to Brandon Drowsy. I just don't know what he was seeing there to start this game. I mean, look at the coverage that's down in the field, for example. And let me know if you think this is a good idea. I don't think it was, with 4 or 5 guys down there at once. And Akron, you know, for a team that hasn't necessarily played anybody, they got a top 5 offense with, you know, averaging 440 yards a game. They know how to move the ball downfield, led by Steve Spurlock, who's going to fire downfield, finds his top receiver, Mark Subar, who was in that Heisman Trophy conversation. He didn't win it, but he was a finalist. He's one of the best players that we do have in the country. And James Madison secondary, they found that out the hard way. They just gave up a 72-yard touchdown strike right after that interception as well. So we're now looking at a 7-0 lead. So we'll see how Stephen Terry is going to respond as they fake the option. He's actually going to throw this football, and it's caught. It is going to be caught by Jonathan Henderson, the senior wide receiver, who comes up and makes a big play on the ball. Was originally deflected away though, but hey, sometimes it's just a little bit better to be lucky than it is to be good. And boy, was James Madison lucky on that one. We got ourselves a tie ball game here in the first quarter of action, as Akron's next possession does not become as successful. They had to punt that football away, but it does land in the hands of none other than Brandon Drowsy, who's going to be high stepping his way into the end zone. James Madison takes the lead. But Akron, they are the number 1 team in the country for a reason. They are not going to be eliminated from the playoffs, at least not very easily. James Madison, they were in for one heck of a game. We'll see who wants it more, and it looks like Akron came a little bit more prepared thus far. Todd Rosario is going to get the interception on Stephen Terry, but it's going to come with a little bit of a price though. He does end up getting shaken up on the play, but Akron does not get a field goal out of it. They cannot score off that possession. Thankfully, that Akron defense did come to play today, and they surely did. 3 first-half interceptions for Stephen Terry. Not what you want to see, but that's unfortunately what you're going to get. And that time, Akron does get a field goal. So they're up 17-14. But Stephen Taylor, he's going to continue to be that gunslinger. And sometimes that creates big plays, not just for the defense, but also for that offense as well. You saw that there with a 52-yard touchdown that Brandon Drowsy is able to take straight back to the crib as well. So that does provide yet another score. And now we're looking at a 21-17 lead. Second half, however, Steve Spurlock is going to continue to find Mark Subar. And Mark Subar is just having an amazing performance thus far. That's his third touchdown of this game. Mark Subar, I checked his x-rays before starting the recording of this episode, and it has been confirmed he does have that dog in him, I'll tell you what. So, Akron now has a 24-21 lead. We'll see how Stephen Taylor responds. He does have a little bit cleaner of a pocket, but that does not last long, though, as that pocket does end up closing on him. Going to take a 6-yard loss because of that. Now throwing on a 2nd and long though. Trying to throw over to the left-hand side. And it seems like DeMarcus Prime, the true freshman, yes, it wasn't a good throw. Well, we got to keep it a bean real quick. But also it seemed like DeMarcus Prime was not expecting to get the football there, unfortunately. And it showed there. He doesn't even go after the ball until it's too late. They do take this back into the end zone. It will be a pick 6. So less than 3 minutes left to play. James Madison is down by 10. They need to score on this drive, and they will get a lot closer to accomplishing that. Kevin Crum will get the reception here and pick up the first down for the James Madison Dukes. As now, 1st and goal from the 9-yard line. Got a 75% completion percentage as Terry's going to throw over the middle, trying to get it out to Brown Eldrazi quickly. But that linebacker had other ideas, though. Just lights him up like a Christmas tree. And eventually we see Stephen Terry get a little bit injured as well. So Hans Heinlein, he's one of your guys' as customs. He's been a backup quarterback here at James Madison for quite some time. He will be slated to start in his senior year. Does lead a touchdown drive, or at least finishes a touchdown drive. But Akron does take the air out of the football on the final possession of the game. And Akron will hang on to win. 31-20, it's going to be your final score. Akron certainly got a scare, but they will be moving on to the quarterfinals of the FCS playoffs, where we'll see who they will take on, whether that will be Sam Houston State or Western Carolina, the winner of that 9-8 matchup that we got going on in the second round of the playoffs. So speaking of that second round of the playoffs, we'll go ahead and jump right into it. We got Western Carolina taking on Sam Houston State here, as the Western Carolina Catamounts coming in 10-2. They did win their first round matchup against Rice, but it was a little bit of a scare for them. Rice did almost pull that upset off, and now they will be taking on a much more difficult opponent in Sam Houston State, who was able to get that top 8 bid, even though they did lose their conference championship game. So the Bearcats are not exactly coming in with all the momentum in the world, but Western Carolina has also shown that they can be vulnerable too. So gonna be interesting to see how this game plays out, as we gotta go ahead and jump right into that second quarter of action. Still no score, but we do see a massive hit though from Corey Hopkins, who absolutely lays out Mike Miniacci there. We'll see if that leads to anything happening for Western Carolina's defense, and it does. It's still going to be a touchdown for the Sam Houston State Bearcats. Kind of reminds you of that drive starter where Auburn just absolutely lights up Sean Clifford is the name. He lights up Sean Clifford, but then Penn State still blows out Auburn at the end of the day. We'll see if it happens here as well, and Sam Houston State moves on to the quarterfinals. But West Carolina's got some guys. On paper, this is the most talented roster in FCS college football. They did a great job identifying key guys that they need to go after while they were under NCAA sanctions. And now that they're no longer under those sanctions, they can finally get that national attention that, frankly, that they've deserved over the past couple of seasons. Just those NCAA violations did stop them at the time. And now Western Carolina, they are driving deep downfield, looking to tie this ball game right back up. They're at the 5-yard line, going to hand the ball off up the middle, and it's going to be into the end zone. That's a touchdown for the Catamounts. We got ourselves a tied football game again. So now all knotted up at 7 apiece here with less than a couple minutes left to play, as David Bullock trying to throw down the length of the field, but that is going to be intercepted, and actually pretty solid return there as well there for that young corner, as Western Carolina trying to take the lead, and they're going to be in a pretty good spot to do that now here in that first half, as Bullock, dropping back the pass, trying to get it over the top. Just didn't get enough air under that football, unfortunately, and that does happen sometimes. Western Carolina does get a couple of field goals after that, and we see them at least right now with a 13-7 lead. Well, now with that 13-7 lead, that lead's going to grow thanks to Paul Kennedy. Kennedy is going to read the eyes of David Bullock, and Bullock is going to not only throw an interception here, but that's also going to be a pick 6 as well. So Western Carolina They are on the verge of taking control here in the second round playoff matchup, as that is going to be yet another first down. Michael Young absolutely feeling himself right now, getting it out to Cumbie on the outside, and that yards after the catch gets the Catamounts inside the 5-yard line. Looking to hand it off. No, it's a play action. Michael Young firing into the back of the end zone and finds the sophomore custom Brian Kahn, who finds himself wide butt naked open. And the rest was history there. Western Carolina, they absolutely handle what they're supposed to handle. They're going to give Akron a challenge. I have a very good feeling about that. Western Carolina does win convincingly in this one. They take down Sam Houston State 30-7. As the Cardiac Cats, their FCS playoff journey is going to come to an end early. Meanwhile, Western Carolina, like I said in that next episode, they will be taking on the number 1 seed in the entire FCS tournament, the Akron Zips, who are still undefeated. But that being said, we go and check in on the darling 40 FCS playoffs according to you guys in the comments section. You're ready to go to war with Texas State after you guys found out that, hey, they are not going to be a top 8 seed. So a little bit more difficult of a path than what Texas State did originally anticipate, but they look good in their last game. They did take down Northern Arizona 30-17, and now they'll take on an Eastern Illinois team who doesn't have the most impressive record, but they're playing some really good football right now. After starting the year 1-3, they've been on a 7-game winning streak, and we'll see if they can extend that to 8 games behind their quarterback, Corey Lobdell. Should be a good matchup between him and then Mitchell McJones as well. And speaking of McJones, he's going to start with the football actually, and fires downfield. Mitchell McJones gets it to his man, and it's going to be a touchdown run away for the Bobcats of Texas State. You want to talk about setting a tone? You got yourself a tone right there. That's going to be a 7-0 lead for Texas State as Mitchell McJones continues his great postseason run. He looked good in the SEC championship game, and he also looked good in that first round matchup against Northern Arizona. But Eastern Illinois, they got some dudes as well. And a perfect example of that is Ralph Rags, the senior, going from rags to riches. And there's going to be some riches here for the Eastern Illinois Panthers. Gonna find the end zone there as making multiple defenders miss. Talk about putting that on the highlight mixtape. We got ourselves a tie ball game here in a very exciting matchup as well. Late in the first quarter, though, as Mitchell McJones fires over to the right-hand side, does get another dot in bounds. Tight end's going to come down and make the catch. Does have a fumble in the previous game, but hangs on to that this time around, and that's very important for this Texas State offense. They can play a clean game. Texas State can win it. They do come with over 450 yards of total offense per game, but just as I was hyping up that Texas State offense, do we have a little bit of a commentator's jinx? I think we got a little bit of that happening here right now, because sure enough, Texas State does turn the football over, unfortunately, and Eastern Illinois, they used that to get a field goal. Now, we jump into the second half of action because after that possession in particular, nothing too crazy happens, but do still see some good plays happen every once in a while throughout the course of the game. Like that particular interception right there, that was a really good play, and Texas State does use that to get the field goal. So we now get into the fourth quarter of action. It's a tie ball game. It can go either way, and we'll see who's going to want this one a little bit more. And right now, it seems like Lobdell, he doesn't want his playoff experience to come to an end early. I would say so. And now it's 2nd and 10 from the 42-yard line. Lobdell, he's got some time to work with. Throws to the right-hand side. Gets it out. Down the sideline. Makes a couple of guys miss. And now they're inside the red zone, looking to take the lead here in the fourth quarter of action. Who is going to advance to the quarterfinals? Lobdell, play action, rolls left, fires, and is caught! Touchdown, Eastern Illinois, and the Panthers will take the lead with 4 minutes and 32 seconds left to play in this game. So now the pressure is placed on Texas State as Mitchell McJones trying to get a decent little drive going and made some good passes on this drive too. Don't get me wrong, but Josh Green might be selling here a little bit, and as with 2 minutes left to play, he puts the football on the ground and Eastern Illinois does recover. So if the Panthers score on this drive right here, it could be over. And sure enough, Corey Lobdell just might have stuck the dagger right in the heart of the Texas State Bobcats, as with less than 2 minutes left to play in this game, the Bobcats making their very first FCS playoff appearance. They're going to be in some serious trouble right now, and we'll see if they got anything left in the tank. Unfortunately, Texas State just seems like they ran out of gas in this one as they use all of their timeouts. And, just for good measure, we will also see Eastern Illinois get another touchdown on the board. But make no mistakes, it was a free touchdown win for Eastern Illinois. I know you guys see that. But hear me out. This game was a lot closer than what the scoreboard says. This game was very close in the fourth quarter, and fortunately Eastern Illinois, they had a little bit more playoff experience, knew how to close games a little bit better and more consistently than maybe what Texas State does in its playoff experiences. This was their first playoff appearance. They could have gone deeper if they got a little bit better break in the bracket, but that just did not happen. So Eastern Illinois will be moving on to the quarterfinals. So now we'll go ahead and see who the Eastern Illinois Panthers will face in the quarterfinals. And it goes by playing this second round game right here. The Delaware Blue Hens, who were the darling of the first round. They not only beat Texas Southern in an upset, they destroyed Texas Southern. So if Southeast Missouri State is not careful, they could have the same thing happen to them, even though they do have, at least on paper, one of the best defenses in the entire country. But the real key for the Redhawks to make that deep playoff run is how do they handle things on the offense, and particularly can Travis Johnson be consistent enough to be a factor in this game. He's got the impact star, but not making impact play though, as Travis Johnson, first attempt of the game, what does he end up doing? He throws an interception. You literally cannot make that part up. You absolutely hate to see it, matter of fact. And that being said, we will go ahead and see that first interception thrown. But Delaware, they can't take full advantage. But one thing for sure, Southeast Missouri State's offense really not playing at that level that you want them to play in order to be a national champion at some point. Rosano's going to get another interception, and that will give Delaware a 3-0 lead here. But Delaware's also putting the football on the ground too. That is going to be recovered by the Redhawks of Southeast Missouri State. But Southeast Missouri State, they can't take advantage either. So we got 4 turnovers in this game, and the only thing to show for it is 10 points. So not the level of playoff football that you expect, unfortunately. But Southeast Missouri State, they will go take the lead. They're going to make it 7-3 after that defensive touchdown. So we'll see if Delaware can figure out this Redhawks defense. As Blumenthal is going to throw over to the left-hand side. Actually connects with Elijah McCoy, the senior, who's able to take the top off the defense. That's going to go for a 45-yard touchdown. And it looks like Kentrill was just caught napping. A little bit of custom-on-custom violence there. And now Travis Johnson finds his guys down a little bit. But Travis Johnson does make a good throw here. Finally gets the first positive yards for Southeast Missouri State. It's been putrid on the offensive side of the ball for the Redhawks of Southeast Missouri State right now. They only got 38 yards to show for it, and yet they still are only down by a field goal. As now Travis Johnson will be in the shotgun formation. The junior is going to hand it off to the tailback. Tailback's got some space to work with, but he puts the ball on the ground again. And it looks like we might have a big guy touchdown potentially, but it does end up being brought down eventually at the 41-yard line. But that was such a really big play there for the Delaware defense, as once again answering the call there. I believe might have been one of the defensive, I'm not sure if it was a custom that did that or not, but either way, I know Delaware, they got the ball again, and they're gonna go coming out firing on all cylinders. We see Kevin Blumenthal throw a touchdown pass here. It's gonna be 17-7, and that's after Blumenthal, I actually thought he was gonna scramble, but then changed his mind once he got up to the line of scrimmage, got rid of it before he crossed ultimately, and now Southeast Missouri State down by 10. And Travis Johnson has not made some good decisions at all today. There's definitely been some questionable spots made, right? But that interception's not on him. That is just a great play by a defender, batted up at the line of scrimmage, and the linebacker just comes in from behind and just knocks that ball off the dirt before it hits the ground. Like, there's been some unlucky plays here for Southeast Missouri State. Like, again, not good decisions. You don't like to see these particular decisions made, but you know, that's just how the cookie crumbles sometimes. And it looks like Delaware trying to open this game open, but they're settling for a lot of field goals. They were actually getting touchdowns off these turnovers. Could be talking about a lot different of a story. And as I say that, of course, we get a pick six that Travis Johnson throws yet again. So I'll be shocked if Travis Johnson makes it the whole game. I'm sure he's going to get benched at any moment now, but Delaware does carry a 30-7 lead into halftime. They've been balling out there as Delaware continues to really surprise a lot of people, right? I've not have been expecting this kind of performance, but that's the kind of performance that we've been getting thus far. Been playing some great football for sure, but Delaware does turn the football over themselves, so it has been perfect for them either. But Southeast Missouri State, they do make a change at that quarterback position. We'll see if that does affect anything, but they had to go 3 and out themselves. And now Delaware gets a chance with the football here, taking it down the sideline. Could be a special team score, and sure enough, it's going to be. Delaware finds his way into the end zone too, and we're talking a 37-7 lead. This is shocking. This is truly a shocking revelation to watch right now, as Southeast Missouri State just right before our eyes too, they are just completely falling apart now. I don't know how they get out of this funk, or even if they do, is there even enough time to make anything happen? And you know, not only is the offense not playing good, well, defense is playing a little bit better, forcing a lot of turnovers. I think that was that might be one of the customs that made a play. Yeah, it was Kelly Russell, the custom strong safety. He's a junior. He's able to make a play on that particular ball, but they got to get some protection from their offense, man. This has not been pretty, as they're going to try to run the option here. He looks mobile, but again, same problem that they've had this entire season, or not the entire season, this game in particular. Another turnover. Look at the turnover difference. Delaware wasn't even clean in this one. They put in 4 turnovers. Delaware turned the ball over 4 times. They won the turnover battle, and it's +4. That's how bad it's been for Southeast Missouri State. They have more turnovers than points in this game too. That's pathetic. And you expect a lot better from somebody that is seeded number 5 in the FCS playoffs. But that just didn't happen today. And Delaware not only pulling the upset, they blow out Southeast Missouri State too, as the Delaware Blue Hens, they win 58-7. It was certainly a shocker. So we see Delaware will be taking on Eastern Illinois, but now let's go settle that bottom part of the FCS bracket right now. We got Eastern Kentucky. They got to play yet another conference game in this one. This time it is going to be against another Ohio Valley opponent. We got Tennessee Martin. They come in ranked number 2 in the FCS playoffs. So at least that's what their seed is. However, again, like we saw in their first round matchup that we saw Eastern Kentucky in terms of dealing with Murray State back in that first round matchup, these two teams know each other. These two teams actually know each other relatively well, being from the same conference and all. And this could be a defensive game. We'll see what happens in this one. And we still have no score here after almost a quarter of football played. But Luis Rose is going to try to open it up and finally gets the scoring going. And it is going to be Eastern Kentucky that does strike first in this one. We'll see them get a 39-yard touchdown run. Doing so by breaking a couple of tackles there too, as Luis Rose is able to find the open hole in the defense. And he was gone like a girl in a country song after that. So 7-3 is your score as we now get to the last couple of minutes of the first half. Donnie Jacobs trying to get something going through the air and finds one of his top receivers as well. Does get the Skyhawks into the red zone, but they do take their second timeout, although I thought this receiver was able to get out of bounds. The refs do disagree though, and that clock is going to be running. Less than 120 left to play. Trying to get a sweep run over to the left-hand side. This could be a touchdown, and it is for Marco Harris. As the Skyhawks, they now soar back to the lead. And ever since Eastern Kentucky, they got the first points to start this game, they will now have this all knotted up. It's going to be a tied game. This is kind of what we expected. A close game. Two teams that know each other. So really not a lot of surprises left at this point, as the big plays, they were just hard to come by in this ball game. You know, that's something that you might notice in terms of why maybe there isn't as many highlights for this Eastern Kentucky-Tennessee Martin matchup as there is for maybe some other matchups here in the FCS playoffs. There just wasn't that many big plays. But we do see a massive one there with 8 seconds left in that third quarter. Luis Rose gets the second touchdown of the game for him. And that last touchdown was the difference. Eastern Kentucky leaning on that strong defense of theirs. They hang on to win this game. They beat Tennessee Martin 17-10. And another team that could be considered a Cinderella possibly. But, you know, again, this was a team that has some history of winning some conference championships. So even though they were just the 15 seed, they do also get to move on to the quarterfinals. And in that quarterfinals, we'll see who they take on, whether that be North Dakota State or Montana, who is going to be coming up just next. So who will the Eastern Kentucky Colonels, who will they take on in the quarterfinals though? We do have another matchup from the same conference. 2 times in a row that we've seen this happen. A lot of conference matchups. So, you know, we're getting a little bit of conference-on-conference violence here in the second round of the playoffs. But Montana and North Dakota State, they actually did play each other earlier on in the regular season. And Montana did end up winning that game. That was in, I believe it was week number 11 or week number 12 when we started those FBS transfers, right? And checking in on how they're doing. But beating somebody twice, that's not always the easiest thing to do. We'll see if Montana is up for it, as we'll go ahead and get this kickoff officially underway to signify the start of the second round game between the 10th-seeded North Dakota State Bison and the 7th-seeded Montana Grizzlies. And it starts out with a bang as John Weeks, the junior, is going to run it into the end zone. Touchdown, Bison. How about that to start a game? A 95-yard touchdown run. So North Dakota State with an early 7-0 lead, and Montana cannot respond. However, the Bison are going to open up the playbook, and look who makes a big play again. It's John Weeks, the custom, who comes downfield, makes a big play because the running back makes the play on the football. Imagine that. In North Dakota State, they're going to race out to a 14-0 lead. Not the start that we were expecting. Remember, this was a team that did struggle to put points up on the board against Brown. And Brown does not have the same level of athletes that Montana has on the other side. But what the North Dakota State does have, they do have that familiarity. They even get a safety in this game too, as Rod Montez, he gets into the end zone as well. He is going to get a touchdown to get things rolling. And North Dakota State, 23-0. They are just all over the Montana Grizzlies right now. No answer for this running game until this fumble that Montana finally gets. Brandon Burke does put the ball on the ground, and the Montana Grizzlies, they are going to recover It's been a rough go for this Montana squad here in the second round of the FCS playoffs. Maybe this is what they needed to finally get things going. But Montana does not score in their next possession, so still down 23-0. Somehow that pitch gets sent out. I don't know how that pitch went through, but sometimes it's hard to explain things scientifically, man. Sometimes it's just magical, and now certainly a magical run by Brandon Burks, who's going to finish it with a 72-yard touchdown run as North Dakota State continues to dominate the piss out of Montana Grizzlies. Shoot, even on the ensuing kickoff, maybe Montana can't get much love here as we got a big-time running back, Brian Hurst, trying to return things back, but it doesn't even happen for him. He fumbles the ball on the ground. That's returned back by North Dakota State, and it's an even bigger lead for the Bison. They're up 37-0. That's what your score ends up being right now, but Montana does do a little something here. They get another turnover. Montana, even with all the struggles, they were winning the turnover battle. They really were, but just wasn't enough. Montana came completely unprepared to play on both sides of the ball, frankly, and North Dakota State, they're going to come out here and win 40-0. So it'll be North Dakota State that takes on Eastern Kentucky. And now a game that could have a lot of points scored on the board once again. We got New Hampshire taking on San Diego State. Now, San Diego State has a pretty underrated offense. Again, did not really get a chance to watch them play because San Diego State wasn't a smaller conference. They didn't really play anybody, but they did get in as an at-large in spite of that. But this New Hampshire team, though, number 3 seed, also one of those teams like Eastern Illinois that we saw play earlier in this episode. New Hampshire has been on fire. They've been playing some great football as of late. Just came up a little bit short in terms of actually reaching that conference championship game. And we'll pick things up here with 3:51 left to play here in this first quarter of action as New Hampshire is going to take the kickoff. It's Otis Grant who's going to take it down the sideline. He's able to get away from a defender, and now he's off for the races, and this is a race that he does not lose very often. Touchdown, New Hampshire. And Otis Grips gets the scoring started with a 77-yard kick return. You love to see it. Later on in the first quarter, though, Bruno Baggio looking to go to work, and he is going to dive into that bag. Dave Davis is going to get that big catch downfield. Ends up being a 35-yard strike for Bruno Baggio, as he'll look to continue to build off of that on this drive. 1st and 10 from the 45-yard line. Baggio drops back, throws to the left-hand side, but it's picked off. Just was hanging in the air for just a little too long, and even then, Davis didn't do that great of a job of just trying to, go towards the football, right? Did not really get to see that. However, San Diego State cannot score. So after one quarter of play, it is still a 7-0 affair in this one. As Zach Howell looking to also have that deep playoff run so that he can have what it takes to get to 1,000 yards on the ground. He's sitting at 812 right now. So it is still possible for him to hit 1,000 yards. We'll see if they continue to go to him throughout this game. Next play, after the big run by Zach Howell, it's going to be Bruno Baggio dropping back the pass, throws to the right-hand side and makes a big completion downfield. First down for the New Hampshire Wildcats. And now, 7-0 lead here still going. Back to Zach Howell. He had that big run earlier. Bunt gets lit up like a Christmas tree there. Zach Howell certainly going to be feeling that in the morning. But the drive still continues. 1st and 10 from the 10-yard line. Bruno fires right. Tries to get it out to his receiver. But that also ends up being an incompletion there too. And it's been a big drive. Can it end in a touchdown? Bruno is going to hand it off. It's going to be the receiver that dives into the end zone. That's a touchdown for the Wildcats as New Hampshire does go ahead and extend that lead further. We're now looking at a 14-0 lead. So San Diego State down by a couple of touchdowns at this point, so got to get something from their offense. not where San Diego State wants to be either. Not only do they turn the football over again, but what they also do too is that they don't have their starting quarterback. They don't have their backup quarterback either. This is still their third string quarterback taking snaps for San Diego State. And to put the game on him to possibly come back and win this game, not one the Aztecs wanted to do. But New Hampshire knows that. They smell the blood in the water. And Zach Howe, he's going to get another touchdown. Big run here for that experienced running back as well. And it's a 21-0 lead. So we'll see how Matt Howe, the quarterback for the Aztecs, does respond. And sometimes the lucky breaks just go your way. And we see that there. That ball was going to go out of bounds. Somehow, the one of the DBs, I think that was Otis Grip that got in there too, came in, was able to bat that ball back inbounds. And we're now talking about New Hampshire with the football again and some more points on the way possibly in possibly one of the last plays of the first half. And that's what we get. Bruno Baggio going to connect with Zach Howe to end this first half. And it was an incredible first half for the New Hampshire Wildcats. 28-0 lead, as that was just beautiful touch on the football. However, late in the third quarter of action, Bruno Baggio looking to put in the finishing touches on this game. Firing to the right-hand side, and it's going to be caught. Touchdown, New Hampshire. That is a 77-yard touchdown strike. And San Diego State just out here getting embarrassed. Straight up and down. Like, I was not expecting a lot of points from San Diego State, but I still thought that they could have competed a little bit better on the defensive end. That simply did not happen. Matt Howe's going to have to deal with all of his pressure now, trying to throw it 40, 50 times possibly, just to have a chance to get back into this game. But maybe he can. Matt Howe did throw a nice pass there, get it over the head of the custom Otis Grip. And San Diego State is in business though. 1st and 10 from the 31-yard line. It's going to be intercepted. Otis Grip gets his revenge down the sideline, and he's going to be gone like a girl in a country song. Touchdown, Wildcats. And if that fat lady's singing, if the fat lady isn't warming up and singing right now, oh boy, she getting them vocals ready as New Hampshire wins a big one. They win 42-0 in this one as the New Hampshire Wildcats. We'll see who they take on in the quarterfinals of the playoffs. So the last game that we have here in this second round episode is actually an 11-6 matchup. Nicholls State, who comes in as the number 11 overall seed, they will be taking on Sacramento State, who is that number 6 seed. Now, Nicholls State definitely had those first game playoff jitters in this one, as they took on UNLV, who's the conference champions of the Mountain West. That's how they managed to get in. And Nicholls State almost lost. They only won by 5 points. It was 34-29 being that final score. But I'm really excited about this matchup here that we got the quarterback position. We got Corey Hall from Sacramento State going to be taking on Frederick McNair, who might be one of the best quarterbacks coming out of the FCS this year, right? So I'm excited to see how that plays out. Jacob Hill, I'm sure, is going to get some good plays downfield. He's a junior to this point, but defense and special teams, all that being said, still matters. And Brad Davis just makes a terrible mistake, honestly. He gives Nicholls State the ball back, but Nicholls State cannot take advantage. They don't score on that drive, and matter of fact, it's not Corey Hall or the other quarterback, Frederick McNair, that gets the first touchdown of the game. No, it's actually Willie Hendrick, the running back for Sacramento State, that punches it in. And they'll take a 7-0 lead here late in that first quarter of action. And man, that option attack that Nicholls State runs right now. Is it out of sorts or what? Frederick McNair and also the other senior custom, Deuce Randolph, was just not on the same page. None of them were on the same page. And Sacramento State, we know they got that really strong offense. Corey Hall and Jacob Hill just is a great connection to watch. Fun fact now, Jacob Hill does have over 1,000 receiving yards. And more importantly, Sacramento State has the lead. How does Frederick McNair respond though? They're going to try to run the option, and McNair does get it out to Speedy Woods, the fast junior wide receiver who takes it all the way into the end zone. Touchdown, Nicholls State. And the Colonels, thanks to that big option run, now back to just a one-possession game. So Sacramento State trying to drive again after giving up the touchdown on their previous possession. We'll see if Sacramento State can do so. Trying to go deep downfield and finds Carlos Espinoza for the big play downfield. Able to moss somebody too in the process. You love to see that, as Sacramento State is in the red zone, but maybe going to that well one too many times, as Corey Hall was trying to target Jacob Hill on that throw, but almost ends up getting him killed. Hospital ball, we like to call it, but does not hurt them on the scoreboard, as very next play, Corey Hall is going to go to his tight end, Trent Taylor, and Trent Taylor is going to do the rest. Actually dives for the end zone too. That will be a touchdown for Sacramento State. And Nicholls State, however, down by 2 possessions. What does Frederick McNeil have? Throwing over to the left-hand side. Does complete the pass. But Frederick McNeil is just not getting that help that he's looking for. Just not getting the help from his teammates that he needs right now. Brad Davis able to force the fumble. Makes up for muffing a punt earlier. And now Sacramento State can score again before we go into halftime. And sure enough, they do. Espinoza, fun in the end zone again. Touchdown, Sacramento State. And Corey Hall gets another one up on the board. It's 28-7. And here's the crazy part. Nicholls State, they had a 3 and out. So Hornets, they get the ball again. And Willie Hendricks gets loose. He's going to get loose. Taking it all the way down the sideline, does not even get touched until we see him in the end zone. That's another touchdown for Sacramento State. And the Hornets, boy, are they stinging right now. 35-7 lead. And while Nicholls State will get a field goal to end the first half, couple of nice throws by Frederick McNair, this was truly the Corey Hall show. Corey Hall and Jacob Hill as well. He gets his 5th catch of the day. And he's now well over 100 yards in this game too. They were just both unstoppable, man. Just not a lot of answers from the Nicholls State secondary. And especially when you're not really getting the pressure that you need to get out over there, it just gives Corey Hall the time to make the throws that he needs to make. He's closing in on 300 yards passing. And he might have gotten to that 350 yard mark if it wasn't for the fact that he was eventually pulled from this game. Not for performance reasons, but they were up by so much, and they just want to get the back up some experience. Plus, FCS playoffs, it is a grind. It is a grind like no other. And Sacramento State, they do win 52-10. Frederick McNair's stats is messed up, but Sacramento State will be moving to the quarterfinals. So when we first embarked on this FCS National Championship hunt, there were 24 teams that were embarking on that final quest for a national championship. But now that we're down to our final 8 teams, we get 2 of the legitimate national championship contenders, and we also got a Cinderella or 2 in there as well, as it's been a really fun playoff here in season number 5. But next episode, we get closer to crowning our national champion, as we will go from 8 teams to 4 teams. We will have the quarterfinals here on this channel in the next episode, the FCS Dynasty, and I hope you guys are excited for it. And if you guys are indeed excited for it, I need you guys to go ahead and do me a favor. Smack that like button for me, and then also hit that subscribe button as well if you do happen to be brand new to the channel. This is John J Gaming on the mic signing off. Hoping you guys are all out there having a good one. Take care, everybody.